Hello everyone and welcome. Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Zilliqa on our radar in today's video. We've got loads of videos to come in today's sessions throughout the day and across the night coming up as well. Before the crazy Christmas break, can you believe it? How fast this year has gone. Guys, so Zilliqa has some very nice moves in the chart the last few days. We'll go into a bit more detail about that in a second. But first of all, some of the reasoning behind those kind of moves. Of course, we covered in the last video about the XCAD link up with Zilliqa. Of course, the success that XCAD is having. And now as well, the recent sort of full-on official announcements of the DEX platform going live, I believe at the end of this month, maybe the 30th, if I remember correctly. So no doubt there will be some activity because people will be very interested in that DEX platform. Of course, there's a lot of early investors and adopters already out there who perhaps got XCAD and getting involved with that. We're in discussion with them trying to get hold of a creator token for the channel, which would be really cool. So you guys would be able to essentially earn XCAD via watching the videos, which is really cool. But the main interest of that is mostly, I think you need the ZIL swap, and there's another one as well, I can't remember, but the ZIL swap, of course, the mechanism within Zilliqa to transfer across tokens to get XCAD as well, available ready for the DEX platform, because I believe for the DEX on XCAD you need one of those things to happen. So that's probably why we've got a bit of activity going on with Zilliqa and that, and I'm sure there will be as time goes on moving towards that date towards the end of the month. In fact, there's the little post about that already. So yeah, 30th of December, guys, so go check that out. And then there's this thing here, okay? So we talked about the metaverse many times throughout this year, even before the whole Facebook meta nonsense. It's something that's been on my radar, on my mind for a number of years now, through work and partnerships, and the emphasis of what's behind the powering of things like the metaverse. And of course, one of these now being Zilliqa, very big focus quite recently on NFTs, like a lot of other platforms are at the moment, protocols. But of course, now metaverse is very much on the end of everyone's lips right now. And Zilliqa is doing its part. There's a nice funky video here that you can watch at your own leisure on the blog zilliqa.com site. So a bit of a peek. I don't really pay too much attention to these kind of videos. I'm not really... I love Zilliqa and I love the concept of metaverse, but these trailers don't really do much for me, especially when you've got people wandering around in there that look like they're from GoldenEye in the 90s. But these visuals look quite nice. So like the battle arenas, the play to earn, of course, as the city grows and the general metropolis, if you like, or metapolis, if they want to call it that, it grows, and the powering of the systems grow, etc., and VR units become more popular, more enhanced. We're talking about a few years down the line where this really takes off. You're gonna have some early adopters getting their avatars in there doing this and that. But yeah, I'm still waiting. I mean, I've been waiting for the Xbox X for ages because of the chipset issues and stuff, and I've finally got some stock available for me to get it, but I'm sort of sat there like, I don't really like the games out at the moment. Like, it's not really justifiable, and I'm just like, you know what I want to wait for? I want to wait to get some crypto money together. I'm going to buy myself an advanced Omni treadmill, and I want to do VR properly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like consoles for me, it's just like starting to get really outdated, and it's not really that interesting to just hold a controller anymore. I want to get involved with stuff like physically, mentally, and you can imagine doing some exercise on the Omni treadmill, just running around like Rainbow Six or something, or whatever. But I think like there's obviously so much to come from the aspect of metaverse in general, and Zilliqa is obviously playing its massive part through Web 3.0, through the powering of the system that it offers, of course, and all the other things that Zilliqa stands for. I think it's going to be fantastic to see this development. They're very much pushing this for 2022. So those out there that were saying like Zilliqa was dead a couple months ago, of course the price has been increasing very slowly, I'll admit. I'm not fussed about the price. I know what Zilliqa is capable of. I'm staking mine fantastically well on the Zilliqa wallet, and I will continue to add Zilliqa. Even at anything sub 10 cents, in my opinion, for Zilliqa is an absolute bargain. And I truly think, people ask me like, well, Zilliqa and this bull run and stuff. Well, the bull run I'm not really majorly fussed about in this one, but I do think that Zilliqa could definitely get well beyond that sort of 30-cent mark. It might sound a bit silly right now, but we had the earlier moves. What was it, April-May time? And that was quite high. In fact, let's jump into the chart. We talk about that in a bit more detail with you guys right now. Smash that like button if you like what you hear and see. But yeah, we're talking about the technical aspects of Zilliqa right now, and the previous all-time highs, I think, was 26 cents. Just dragged this up here, all the way up here. Yeah, it was around 25 cents. So yeah, there's definitely in my mind 30 cents is very achievable in these coming months for sure. Maybe beyond that 50 cents. But for me in the future, and the reason why I bagged so much of it, I truly think that Zilliqa should be a minimum of around like $5 maybe in 4 or 5 years time. I'm talking about the next maybe run in probably like 2024, 2025. And I think that's achievable. If you just look at the momentum of Zilliqa's ecosystem and what it's developing, I think like XCAD is just one example of the hundreds that they've got out there, and still in development, somewhere in advanced stages, DEX platforms, etc. as well. But even the whole ZIL swap mechanism and the bridging and the NFTs, and now this, the metaverse, I think, in my opinion, 2022 is going to be heavily focused on this. I don't know if we'll go into more lockdowns and things, but I truly think that more and more people will get more involved in gaming. They'll get more excited about play-to-earn mechanism. Do you know what? I know a lot of people that have cut out their jobs to just go and do play-to-earn or view-to-earn. How crazy is that? And that's kind of like the weird society that we're probably moving into, in the sense like if you go down a centralized route of metaverse, I think it'd be quite scary, and maybe slavery or something. I don't know. But if you go down decentralized, obviously you have a lot more options and more freedom. But I just feel like the world's going to go very strange in the next few years, socially, economically. Of course, the transition of digital is incomprehensible with in your mind right now. It's what we know in the space, and those that knew, go and check out our videos on like IOTA and the Tangle and DAG systems. How blockchain and technology is really going to be working in the background. You won't see it, you won't actually realize it's going on. You'll just see the physical end product of it, and you'll just go, oh yeah, that drone does this, and this plane's arrived or this taxi's arrived on time at my house without me even doing anything. You will just not know how it works. Nine times out of 10 people won't know. But now we're in this space and we understand it's coming. It's very apparent what's really occurring. And you try and talk to people about this outside the crypto sphere, and you talk about, people just think crypto and blockchain is all about just Bitcoin. I'm like, that's so naive and ignorant in some cases, and there's so much going on. It's so exciting. And I think Zilliqa, picking up on Zilliqa when I did back in 2020, I think, yeah, just before the pandemics and everything, maybe 2019 actually. I just thought this is amazing. The potential of this is amazing. So I just looked into the future, and I think Zilliqa's got some fantastic moves, first of all in the short term, if we talk about that from an investor's perspective. But I think in the long run, this thing's going to be phenomenal. And like I said, anything sub 10 cents, I mean, to be honest, anything really under 20 cents, in my opinion, compared to the long run, is going to be phenomenal. But at right this point in time, of course, we're looking at as it is now. The perfect opportunity was when everyone was saying it was boring and dead, i.e. these moments here at 5 cents. Everyone was complaining, and now it's shooting up towards that 10-cent mark, albeit I don't think it'll do it immediately. Obviously, we're seeing a bit of resistance that we saw back here in the 7th and 8th of December. 8th and 9th. So we might have a bit of fluctuation around this area, maybe a bit of a wave down and another tail up. Because I truly think we'll get some test points back up here at this sort of 9.7 cents mark, maybe in a few weeks' time. I've just feeling now the building the momentum. If I look at all the indicators across most of the charts, right, and Bitcoin's movements, I'm starting to see really healthy patterns in the buying aspects of these kind of assets. But also in the RSI application here, if you look at the really low points that we're down here, these are the perfect buying opportunities. Now we're on a bit of a tail up. You could argue the long-term momentum of Zilliqa, that this is still a good price, irrespective that it may come down, in a bit of a wave pattern like we just mentioned. But the indicators were there, and we talked about this when it was down there. We said, like, this is a perfect opportunity, and now it will scale itself up. So you're back here on the 4th or 5th December, for example. Let's say 14-day, 27, 28-day at 36. Very good buy points. Now we're at the 54 mark. It's very much in the middle limbo. So it's almost like, okay, we may have that wave pattern that we just discussed. And then it will decide whether we're ready to push up or whether we need to come down a bit, test the previous level down, maybe arguably back down to here, about 6.6 cents, and then tail ourselves back up again in that momentum. But what's clear right now is already, just from this point on the 5th of December, 27, 36, 46 on the RSI, look at those numbers. So that 90 days very nice and strong, because it's showing that there's real nice foundation of volume right there. Confidence is building. The 28 days now at hitting a 47, and we've got 14 days at 54. So for me, it's like, great. This might be a little opportunity for me to sell off some profits from the ones that I haven't got staking. Wait for maybe a small little drop. If it doesn't, fine. I've taken a bit of profit already, and then I'll watch the nice rise of it, hopefully, as the momentum kicks on. We're probably going to see some kind of like pattern like this, this kind of move here. So we'll have a good stint, in my opinion, of this nice waved pattern in an upward direction. But I would really like to see, the thing is, when the bull run kicks in and everyone's confidence kicks in, obviously we've got the Christmas period right now, which I thought would be quite quiet for most assets, but it seems to be like going a bit of the opposite way. Got to keep an eye out, guys, on narratives outside of the crypto sphere. I'm talking about real world narratives, things going on in the world. Think, what's happening? What are people going to do with their money, right? And then potential stock crashes or this, that, and whatever it is. The narratives around the pandemics and whatnot. All these things you've got to take into consideration and value against not just what's going on in the price charts and the investments perspective and the projects themselves, but also the real world mechanism, which of course mainly would push Bitcoin to make its move, which ultimately then tails down to the other ones. So I feel like in the next couple of weeks we're going to have some nice runs on some of these altcoins for sure. But Zilliqa's momentum will continue. But this is where we are right now. Like I said, we're probably going to see this resistance pattern around this area. If we can break that, if the volume really kicks in, I could see us testing these higher regions, certainly around this 8.2, and then, like I said, around this 9.6, 9.7 cents. That's a real sweet spot, guys, because 10 cents obviously been the rounded number. We know for a fact that every time we hit these areas, we get pretty much some volatility. I wouldn't call it like full-on volatility, but you see what I mean, like the magnetism around this area. Even back here, look at that, 22nd of September at 9.5 cents, and there's just a wave of magnet here. It's like if you drew a line right in the middle through here, it's almost like a waved pattern around there, and then you've got testing areas around here as well. So I'm really interested now. In fact, I'm just going to draw that in just so you know what I'm talking about here. Let me draw my wonderful horizontal line here. So it's kind of like around this part here. So it's like pretty much on this line on the 29th of November we just spoke about. So a high of 9.5 cents. So I reckon 9.5, 9.7. That's when we're going to see. So we might have a little wave pattern back up to this area, and that's where we'll see a bit of fluctuation, similar patterns to like maybe like this. But then once we've broken that, I think once it gets past that 10 cents, the confidence will really, really kick in for Zilliqa. And we might get a bit of FOMO going on, and that's where I think it will start tailing itself up into a very nice positive direction like we saw earlier this year, but maybe even more so. Look at that mess down there. My goodness, it looks like some 90s audio system or something. Anyway, guys, that's where we are with Zilliqa. Like I said, I think in the coming weeks we'll probably have a bit of a wave pattern going on here. Now the news has come out of their updates on what they're trying to plan for 2022. You might see a bit of a tail off. But I do think over these next few weeks into the new year, we're going to see Zilliqa taking things by storm. 24% up on the week, which is fantastic to see. I'm looking forward to seeing that month go into green finally, and that 3 month as well. Because once those go green, trust me, traders look at these things, and people in general look at these things. When they see green across longer term indicator and performance indicators, trust me, the numbers start flying in. We're now in a neutral aspect of technicals, like we just said, leveling off potentially. But once that starts swinging into a buy momentum, we're off and running. And then the people were saying it was a scam, people saying it was a dead coin and this, that and the other, and all the other garbage out there, will be looking very zilly. Goodbye.